Back 4 Blood, a game seen as many to be annoyingly difficult, especially when playing offline with the bots. Now, I'm not here to argue against these reviews. For the most part, they're right. Back 4 Blood is pretty hard, and the bot's AI can be non-existent at times. But I don't think that the bots in this game are unredeemable. And that's exactly why on today's episode of Nobody Asked, the question we're going to be looking into is, can you beat Back 4 Blood on Nightmare difficulty without killing anything? This whole playthrough will be played offline with the bots, where I will not be allowed to kill anything in the game, leaving it up to the bots to do all the heavy lifting. Now, I know what you're thinking, Cam, you're just gonna speedrun the game. Well, actually, no. For this challenge, I'm going to do my best to slow play through the whole game, changing my strategies depending on the situation. Luckily, in this game, if you ping, the bots are more likely to shoot, so I use this, along with the fact that you can give the bots different guns, to make things a little bit easier on myself. Playing through this challenge, surprisingly, the biggest issue I found was sleepers. The bots suck at taking them out, and I'm not allowed to shoot them, so I just stand back and watch as they tried to figure it out on their own, and failed mostly. In the second level, things were going okay. When the ogre showed up, it got a little dicey, but we just did the trick where we ran back to the beginning of the level so the ogre would despawn, and things went okay. Evangelo, with his great AI, tripped and fell off the ledge towards the end of this one, so I used this time to give him a little pep talk. Everyone hates you. They all collectively agree that you are the worst cleaner in this game. Get your shit together. I then gave Evangelo a pipe bomb, and at first it seemed like he didn't really understand how it worked, but eventually he understood he should probably throw it outside. Towards the end of Pain Train, I decided to show off a little bit for chat and use the power of my chin to hold myself up on this ledge. Evangelo saw me doing this, and him looking up to his mom wanted to try it out as well, but he's just not strong enough, and he slipped and fell too, which ended up losing this entire match for us. Good job, Evangelo. You piece of garbage! I then took a break from Back 4 Blood to play some completely vanilla Left 4 Dead, and then we got back to it. I once again made it to the end of this level and found some barbed wire, which I set up, and this actually ended up being a big mistake. After making some crazy plays to finally make it to the end of this level, dodging the sleeper, running past everything inside, it turns out the barbed wire actually got me a couple of kills. This sucked, but now I knew to never use barbed wire again. Yeah, I totally forgot that I shouldn't use barbed wire again. Promising to go back to this level eventually, I moved on to the crossing. I made sure I didn't kill anything with the propane tank, and then the rest of this level was basically just running, so it was pretty easy. And I totally didn't almost die at the end, a couple times. In the next level, I gave Evangelo an LMG, meaning all the bots had good guns now, and we were ready to play through the rest of Act 1. I also made sure to rob Evangelo before I revived myself, because screw him, he doesn't need the money. For the breaker, I just climbed up on the roof. That way my bots and the people on the roof could take care of it all together. Teamwork makes the dream work. I kept the same mindset going into the next section, making sure to just prioritize taking people off the walls because they would also help fight. And since I wasn't doing anything, their help was necessary. Bookworms was absolute hell. As most of you will know, this level mainly has sleepers, but the bots actually took care of every horde that they called in, so I couldn't be that upset. Once we got to the apartments, the bots actually took care of the horde perfectly fine. I decided to jump from the trailer onto the fire exit, where I ran into a sleeper and we had a staring contest for a while. I eventually tried to dodge it, and that didn't work out. But the bots eventually telepathically saved me, so that was all good. Since the bots went out of their way to save my life, on our way back to the safe room, I went out of my way to save them. And although that was chaos, I actually ended up finishing this level with all of the bots alive. Now we're on to Barroom Blitz, which actually is a pretty easy level if we use barbed wire. The only problem is I can't place barbed wire without getting kills. Luckily, Fabian in chat came up with a great idea. I could just kill myself and place the barbed wire down as a bot. And this is where I learned something new. While trying to kill myself for the setup, Evangelo actually came over and used a defib on me. Bot Evangelo did. You know, Evangelo's kind of warming up to me. He's a little bit of a brown noser, but I'll let it slide. After setting up the barbed wire, I revived myself and ended up with this weird visual glitch on the end of my gun, making it look like I was shooting constantly. So I could at least pretend I was doing something while sitting on the jukebox, staring at the bots as they completely carried this level. On the diner, we used the exact same strategy where we let a bot set up the barbed wire, and we actually got to sit in the corner for the entire level, did not move, didn't even ping stuff, and the bots protected me. You know, maybe the bots aren't that bad. But let's not get ahead of ourselves yet. Bad Seeds wasn't terrible either. We just shot the nodes and ran around. That was the extent of our strategy, and it worked. On Hell's Bells, we did the same bot barbed wire strat, and they held up pretty well at the tow truck. Moving further into the level, things got a little dicey once the hag showed up, but I refused to give up on these bots. So through the thick of it, I kept reviving them, kept trying to heal them, and eventually somehow, I actually have no idea how we survived this encounter, but we did, and we went on to finish this level, so I'll take it. On Abandoned, whenever we shot a set of nodes, we would hide in the one upstairs bedroom. That worked out for us. And then for the ending, we did a combo of slow play and running because I needed the bots to take out the sleepers, so I couldn't exactly sprint all the way to the finish. Now onto the last level of Act 1. We did the bot barbed wire setup once again, took some firecrackers, and then once I picked myself back up, I focused on shooting the cannons. I had to make sure to not shoot the cannon once the ogre was in sight because I didn't want to kill him. This is a no-kill run, and luckily on our last shot the ogre was directly in front of the cannon, but apparently when you shoot the last shot, everything just despawns. At this point I'm pretty confident about this challenge, and we're gonna head on into Act 2. In Act 2, on the first level, I was actually able to finish with everyone alive, and instead of getting that extra money, I decided to kill myself and then give Evangelo another pipe bomb to reward him for his improvement through the first act. This was also to try and make the handyman a little bit easier if Evangelo ever decided to throw the pipe bomb, but for some reason, he never did. Luckily, I was able to give all the bots an AA-12 and then go on to finish the level through a combination of running out to shoot the nodes and then falling back to health stations to make sure the bots always had their lives. I did not want my bodyguards dying on me. On pipe cleaners, I narrowly made it through this timed door section. Luckily, the crusher had to take a second to yell at me, and while he was taking a second to lecture, I just ran right by him. We got to the toolkit room and I made sure the bots were healed up for the next section, which actually went super clean. I pressed the button and then waited outside of where I pressed the button, and the bots easily defended me until the door opened and we got out of there. On Hinterland, I started trying to get creative with my ways of avoiding the ridden. Climbing this ladder up and down actually worked pretty well to confuse this bruiser, but the stalker just wasn't having it. Towards the end, we got rid of all the nodes, and then this hawker just forgot how to hawker, and he just let me walk by him. He's a pretty cool dude. From here on, everything goes downhill. For those of you who don't know, in this game, there's something called an AI director. It basically just decides what corruption cards are played in every single level, which you have to play your cards in order to counter. And on this level was the first time the AI director decided to play a boss mutation. Bosses are obviously one of the harder things to kill in this game, and I got a little worried whether or not the bots were going to be able to solo one of these bosses. It turns out on this level it was a breaker, and it absolutely destroyed my team multiple times. On one of these attempts, a crusher actually killed Walker a little further back on the map, while I wouldn't unhook the boat. The breaker then spawned in and attacked Walker, meaning a battle royale circle spawned around the breaker and I was put outside of it. This meant I took damage until I reached Walker. By the time I got to the zone, a tall boy knocked me back out of it, which ended up killing me. This is when I decided, if the AI director wants to play dirty like that, so will I. So I decided to set up a trap with a bunch of propane tanks and an explosive barrel. Technically, when the breaker jumps on this, I'm not injuring the breaker. It just so happens that the explosives were exactly where he was going to land. This ended up taking out 1/3 of his health, and then the bots took care of the rest. Heck yeah. Take this LAI director, you can't stop the power of the cardboard box. We got through the rest of this level, made it to the clog, and then the AI director played another boss card. This one ended up being an ogre, and after a few attempts, I found it was not really possible for the boss to take out this ogre, so I had to resort to running. I know, I'm sorry everybody, I did somewhat speedrun this level. For the most part, I actually did slow play it, but once we got to the end, all the bots died, so I just ran to the safe room. I know, I'm terrible, but I hope you can forgive me. The funny part about all the bots being dead is not a single one of them actually died to the ogre in this final part. I mean, they technically did, because the ogre is the reason they fell into the water, but every single one of them fell off into the water, which is a problem on this level to begin with, even if there wasn't an ogre. The bots just suck on the clog. On the broken bird, things actually went pretty well. After you hook up 2 crates, the breaker spawns, but you don't have to kill in this level, so we didn't. And now this brings us to the final 3 levels, where I have to count on the bots to kill an ogre. In the clog, they couldn't do it, but I believed in them. I knew with all the coaching I've been giving them, especially with the improvements I've seen in bot Evangelo throughout Act 1 and Act 2, I knew we had it. After hiding in the safe room for a very long time, they eventually whittled down the ogre and killed it. This was awesome, but it only gets harder from here. In the next level, we have to kill an ogre and a breaker, but the catch is, in this level, we can't go back into the safe room. I was stressing a little bit for this one, I'm not gonna lie to you, but once we got on the roof and I did some fancy footwork, tricking the ogre into not really knowing where I'm going, the bots actually took care of the ogre. I was very impressed with them. At one point, we had the ogre and the breaker in the map at the same time, and the bots still handled their business. I did have to run to the storm to get more meds and flashbangs to help them out, but I wasn't injuring the ogre or the breaker. I was mainly just running around picking up all the bots. And this is a good time to point out that in chat, a lot of people said, why don't you just injure the ogre to the point where the bots can just one-shot it? And my response was, I didn't want to do this because I felt like it took away from the accomplishment in actually getting the bots to basically do everything in this game. So I'm really happy I did it this way, because this proves that the bots can actually carry pretty hard in Act 1 and Act 2. Now on to the final level of Act 2. We had to go around killing 5 snitches, which if you walk close enough to any of the snitches, the bots will kill them. After killing them, we'd run back to the church and hold out for the horde. Eventually 2 breakers came in, and I was pleasantly surprised with me throwing flashbangs and feeding the bots pain pills that made them do more damage. They took out 2 breakers without my help. Kind of impressive. But now we're moving on to Act 3. I'm not going to lie, Act 3 was a pain in my ass. To add to the difficulty of Act 3, none of the bot's abilities were actually working. This especially sucked for Evangelo, because bot Evangelo was the only one I wanted to take, since his breakout ability for bots is amazing. I almost made it to the end with slow playing, but at this point I was getting pretty sick of playing this game without being able to shoot stuff, so I did speedrun the first level because I was so close, okay? Once again, I'm sorry. On Blazing Trails, the AI director once again was out to get me, playing another boss guard. This one turned out to be a hag, and on the attempt I finally made it to the pool section. I had no bots left, and the hag was chasing me right into a sleeper. Eventually I did make it to the end section with all the bots, and with them taking all the hits and dying for me, I made it to the end. Their sacrifice will not be forgotten. And then we got to Cabins by the Lake, which is another level that gave me the absolute time of my life. On this level, I died so many times until eventually I got the run, I found the battery, got to the end, and then this happened. Well, that was kind of lucky. I was actually just gonna run into it and use my stun gun. Uh-oh. Can you leave, please? I need you to not be in here. What am I supposed to do here, guys? I need you not to be in here. I can't hurt you. Are you serious? This is not the way I'm losing this. I need to get outside. Hello, everybody. No. Oh my god. Holy crap. Holy crap indeed. Narrowly making it by that level, we got to Garden Party, which was a level that sucked a lot of time out of my life. The first half of Garden Party, I had to play very slow, going into the section where there's nodes, and then falling back to make the bots use health cabinets over and over again. That was very time consuming, and it didn't matter because a lot of my runs died once we got to the maze section. Eventually we got a run, I made it to the maze section, and I was slow playing through it. We were almost to the end of the maze when I found the path was actually blocked by birds. With no way to kill the birds, because I can't kill, I had to run through them. This instantly spawned a horde on the other side of the hedge, and then this happened. Can you get... Oh my god, I can't move! Evangelo, come help me! I was crowd surfing. For a moment, I was God. Oh! Oh my god, guys, we did it! With another close finish, we were on to T5, which actually went pretty well. The only issue I ran into is that once you pick up a crate, you can no longer bash. Your bash turns into a knife, meaning once I picked up a crate, I was pretty vulnerable to get swarmed. And if that happened, I had to drop the crate in order to punch stuff. It was a bad combination, but I think it was my 5th or 6th attempt I actually made it through T5 without killing anything. Speed was obviously key. Onto a friend in need, we got absolutely destroyed by a tall boy because Hoffman stopped fighting and started having flashbacks of killing his childhood teacher. This put the team in a bad situation, and all we had left to count on was Evangelo. Oh god, we're doomed. And then, just when I thought it was all over, and I started fading into darkness, my knight in shining armor burst through the door and saved every single one of us.
Oh my god, Evangelo.
For once in my life, I can finally say I'm proud of you. Moving up to the top floor, the only bot we had left was Hoffman, who got grabbed by a stalker. Even though I slapped the stalker around like he had just made a joke about my bald wife, Hoffman still couldn't take advantage of the situation and ended up getting grabbed another time, killing him. In my disappointment, I ran out of the building in a huff. I opened up the toolkit room and was actually able to save all the bots before heading to the end of the level. The AI director at this point was getting desperate and started cheating. I got another boss mutation on this level, and then he decided to send in a Reeker that destroyed 2 of my bots while they were helpless and then teleported through the fence into my face. What the heck was this? Despite this blatant cheating, I was able to make it through the rest of this level, almost to the bus, where I got grabbed by a sleeper. I then forgot to quit and ended up losing all my progress in this act. Me completely failing and having to restart wasn't all bad because from this point on all the bots were fixed and they had their abilities, meaning Evangelo could break out of grabs. After restarting Act 2 and progressing back to where I was, we were able to finish this level, but this time I made sure to take a stun gun, allowing myself to get past these sleepers without an issue. The only change after restarting this act is instead of Carly, we now have Walker. It's not a huge difference. I'm still playing the game without killing. Get over it. In the road to hell, once again, we got another boss card. Okay, AI director. I see how it's gonna be. You wanna play that way? You know what? I've had enough. No more Mr. Nice Cardboard Box. After trying to finish this level properly, with the AI director playing dirty, I decided it was time. Go Gadget Out of Bounds bots. This glitch was found by Shadow Witch, so shout out to Shadow Witch, go check out their channel. They have a few videos on out-of-map glitches and Back 4 Blood. Pretty cool. Using the bots, I was able to kill myself, take over a bot, give the bots better weapons, and then run to the end of this level without dealing with the boss at all. Heck yeah. Now we're on to the last level of Act 3, which I knew for a fact, and you were probably thinking this too, that this level was going to be the hardest to complete without killing anything and making the bots do everything. That's why we came into it with a solid plan. I drew it all out. Very beautiful. The plan was quite simple. I was going to drop some defibs down, throw a T5 grenade at the ogre, and then run around killing all the weak spots, letting the bots slowly kill the ogre. These defibs would come in handy because I knew for a fact the bots were going to die, meaning they were quite essential for the plan. Sadly, this plan was way better on paper than actually doing it. While I was trying to throw the defibs off the cliff, the ogre actually threw a meatball that knocked me over, leaving 2 of the other defibs up top. So the plan went out the window pretty fast, leaving me to run around killing all the nodes and hoping the bots just don't die. After I was done with all the nodes, obviously the bots did die. This was expected, and I only had 1 defib, so I picked up Evangelo. Evangelo's my boy. I've grown to love him as a bot. He is by far the best, and I knew he could carry the rest of this one. Lucky for me, the ogre actually decided to stay up on the bridge for some reason, meaning Evangelo was safe from the ogre insta-killing him by stepping on him, but specials were still spawning down below, and with Evangelo being the only bot alive, he had to deal with it all. He put up a great fight, but eventually a stalker and a crusher spawned at the same time, and this was the end of Evangelo. I was able to run around and grab Evangelo off a wall, but it didn't end up mattering because I checked and I had accidentally killed a few Ridden, probably with the T5 grenades, so we had to reset anyways. On the next attempt, I made sure to get all the defibs off the cliff, and this time I was able to have all the bots alive to kill the ogre as it sat on the bridge. I was more careful with my T5 throws to only hit the ogre, and the bots were actually able to take it out pretty easily. Boom! Alright, just like that, we've beaten Act 1 to Act 3 without killing anything, letting the bots do it all. Now we're on to Act 4, which in my opinion is the worst act to do solo, It's just not fun, and while doing this challenge, I learned why it's not fun to do alone. I ended up killing myself and checking out what cards the bots were actually using, and it turns out the bots don't have a single card in Act 4. In fact, when I checked, they didn't even have their own abilities. This sucks. This means if I want to finish Act 4 with the bots, I'm gonna have to play the best Back 4 Blood of my life. Let's do this. Yeah, okay, so after a lot of attempts, I came to the conclusion that beating this level without killing anything was not possible with the bots. And that means this challenge is failed. Yeah, so I guess I just give up. Just kidding. Instead, because I was struggling with just the bots and them not having a deck, in order for me to not lose my sanity, myself and chat came up with a new plan where Dan, Fabian, and Christian joined my game with a full deck and then left. I would then go die and then play offline using this campaign. That way the bots would have full decks, and then I was good to start trying to beat Act 4. And it became so much easier. I had Evangelo and Hoffman with me since the very beginning, Act 1, and they were here to carry me in Act 4. It was almost poetic. Once we got to the bottom side, however, it was revealed that one of the bots on my team was not actually there to help me. As I was taking out the weak spots on the Abomination, the piece of garbage Jim took a bullet for the Abomination. It ended up killing him, and honestly, good riddance. After this, I got hit by a hawker, and things were not looking good, but then I got this run. With another close finish, we ended Act 4 with 0 kills, finally defeating the AI director and proving that you can beat all of Back 4 Blood on Nightmare difficulty, which is currently the hardest difficulty, No Hope is going to come out soon, without killing anything and letting the bots carry you through it. Now that we're at the end of the video, I'd like to just be honest and say I technically failed this challenge. There were a few times where I'd finish a level and it would say I had some kills. Sometimes I had no idea where these kills came from, whether it be a flashbang or maybe an accidental punch. But there were some levels where I put down barbed wire because I was just not thinking, and then those would end up getting some kills. This means I did not technically beat Back 4 Blood without killing anything, but I did prove it is possible. And that's really all that I wanted to do. I definitely do not recommend any of you try doing this challenge. For the most part, it was mainly just frustrating, but there was some enjoyable parts along the way and some great teamwork between me and Evangelo, who is now my favorite bot. Thank you all for watching this video. I enjoyed doing these random challenges, and if you have any challenges you want me to do in any game, just comment below and maybe I'll try one of them out. By the time this video is posted, the new DLC for Back 4 Blood is probably out, and Nightmare will no longer be the hardest difficulty. But don't let that take away from the fact that Nightmare difficulty was the hardest difficulty while I was doing this challenge. We stream on YouTube Monday to Saturday, kind of. Anyways, if you subscribe, you might see us every once in a while. Join the stream, come hang out, and you'll get to see me die a lot in whatever game I'm playing. I hope to see you there. Have a good one, everybody. If you do want to watch all the footage of me completing this challenge, you can go look at our past live streams. It took me a really long time, so there's a lot of footage to go through, but it's there for proof. Just saying.